Hello and welcome to the Port Arthur audio experience. My name is Colin and I've been a guide at Port Arthur for around 30 years, during which time I've never become immune to the beauty nor the story of this fascinating place and where it sits within a bigger picture of an incredible time in human history, and I hope to share some of that with you today. This beautiful island where I live is known by many names. In 1642, just north of here at Denali, the Dutch planted a flag, and for them it became Van Diemen's Land, a name the British would continue to use until 1856, when Van Diemen's Land officially became Tasmania. Its Aboriginal name is Lutruwita. In recognition of the deep history and culture of this place, we would like to acknowledge and pay our respects to the traditional custodians of the land upon which we gather, the Paitarama people. We also acknowledge and pay our respect to all Tasmanian Aboriginal communities, all of whom have survived invasion and dispossession and who continue to maintain their identity and culture. Port Arthur is most famous for being a prison that operated between 1830 and 1877. But the site is far more than just an old prison. Port Arthur is one of 11 sites that makes up the Australian Convict Sites World Heritage listing. Upon arrival, visitors find a vast 100-acre carefully landscaped historic site with over 30 buildings and ruins to explore. And Port Arthur happened to be a particular type of prison, a secondary punishment station. The majority of convicts who were transported would never see places like this, but they would be only too aware of their existence and reputation. This was a prison specifically designed for incarcerating repeat offenders, considered to be the worst convicts in Van Diemen's Land, men who could at best be regarded as incorrigible criminals or at worst incurable criminals. They had already been transported but would then continue to commit further crimes and offences within the colony. We believe Lieutenant Governor Arthur adopted and applied the concept to Port Arthur of being a machine to grind rogues honest. The origin of that concept and intent of a prison comes from the English social reformer Jeremy Bentham. The idea being that while imprisoned, there was an opportunity, an offer of reform. To understand why Lieutenant Governor Arthur would find this a very practical concept, it's important to understand just how remote the penal colony of Van Diemen's Land was, some 13,000 miles from England. The overall desire being transported convicts would serve a portion of their sentence as assigned workers for free settlers or the government. Those lacking practical or basic literacy skills could be taught and eventually integrated as contributing citizens to help build the new colony. It was hoped that with these new skills, convicts would be less likely to resort to their old deviant ways and would contribute to the building of a new society. It was a mutually beneficial scheme. Basically, convicts of Port Arthur had so far not adhered to that particular scheme, but there was still a chance. Even though a convict had fallen to the very bottom of the convict system of Van Diemen's Land, the door to freedom and potentially a better life within the colonies was still slightly ajar, and Port Arthur could help him through that door. The ultimate goal? To turn these men from infamy to industry. This prison was to be a place of impartial justice. If a convict displayed the will to reform, he could earn reward. If he did not display the will to reform, he would earn punishment. Reward was a possibility, punishment was a certainty.